Nothing can possibly be conceived in the world, or even out of it, which can be called good without qualification, except a good will. A good will is good not because of what it performs or effects, but by virtue of the volition itself. Intelligence, wit, judgment, and the other talents of the mind, however they may be named, or courage, resolution, perseverance, as qualities of temperament, are undoubtedly good and desirable in many respects. But these gifts of nature may also become extremely bad and mischievous if the will which is to make use of them is not good. Act as if the maxim of your action were to become by your will a universal law of nature. The moral worth of an action does not lie in the effect expected from it. Morality is not properly the doctrine of how we may make ourselves happy, but how we may make ourselves worthy of happiness. All practical principles which presuppose an object of the faculty of desire as the determining ground of the will are empirical and can furnish no practical laws. Prudence is the skill of choosing the means to one's own greatest well-being. Act only according to that maxim whereby you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law. So act that you use humanity, whether in your own person or in the person of any other, always at the same time as an end, never merely as a means. The concept of good and evil must not be determined before the moral law for which, as it would seem, this concept would have to be the foundation, but only after it and by means of it. Two things fill the mind with ever new and increasing admiration and awe, the more often and steadily we reflect upon them: the starry heavens above me and the moral law within me. Autonomy of the will is the supreme principle of morality. Duty is the necessity of an action executed from respect for law. An action done from duty derives its moral worth, not from the purpose which is to be attained by it, but from the maxim by which it is determined. To be kind where one can is duty. It is impossible to conceive anything at all in the world, or even out of it, which can be taken as good without qualification, except a good will. The moral law is a fact of reason. Reason must approach nature in order to be taught by it, but not as a pupil who agrees to everything the teacher says, but as an appointed judge who compels the witnesses to answer the questions which he puts to them. Freedom is the property of the will to be a law to itself. Odd implies can. The public use of one's reason must always be free, and it alone can bring about enlightenment among men. Have courage to use your own reason. That is the motto of enlightenment. Everything has either a price or a dignity. Whatever has a price can be replaced by something else as its equivalent. Whatever, on the other hand, is above all price, and therefore admits of no equivalent, has a dignity. A man is not a thing, that is to say, something which can be used merely as a means, but must in all his actions be always considered as an end in himself. Morality is not the doctrine of how we may make ourselves happy, but how we may make ourselves worthy of happiness. Enlightenment is man's emergence from his self-incurred immaturity. Immaturity is the inability to use one's own understanding without the guidance of another. If justice perishes, human life on earth has lost its meaning. I had to deny knowledge in order to make room for faith. Out of the crooked timber of humanity, no straight thing was ever made. Happiness is not an ideal of reason, but of imagination. We are not rich by what we possess, but by what we can do without. Patience is the strength of the weak. Impatience is the weakness of the strong. Science is organized knowledge. Wisdom is organized life. The wise man can change his mind. The stubborn one, never. It is not God's will merely that we should be happy, but that we should make ourselves happy. Even a man's exacting a promise is a moral act, for he thereby makes himself responsible for the performance of the other. All our knowledge begins with the senses, proceeds then to the understanding, and ends with reason. There is nothing higher than reason. Thoughts without content are empty, intuitions without concepts are blind. Experience without theory is blind, but theory without experience is mere intellectual play. The death of dogma is the birth of morality. By a lie, a man annihilates his dignity as a man. Treat people as ends, and never as means to an end. Virtue is the moral strength of the will in obeying the dictates of duty. The greatest human quest is to know what one must do in order to become a human being. Law and freedom without violence are unthinkable. Give me matter, and I will construct a world out of it. Live your life as though your every act were to become a universal law. Morality is a necessary truth, known a priori by reason alone. Thanks for watching.